So in the last session, I've explained you decision tree, and in that decision tree, we have seen what are the uh, terminologies that are responsible for splitting the node and making a decision. So I've explained you entropy, and I've explained you entropy, I've explained you Gini index, information gain, probability concept, right? Same thing will be carry forward on this random forest algorithm. And in this random forest algorithm, uh, we will going to do the same. The only difference is that random forest algorithm also comes under ensemble technique. Why do we call it ensemble? Because it is used for combining several classifier together to solve complex problem, and which will going to lead to the prediction. So here, if you can see the figure, you can see that in decision tree, what we were doing, we were making only one decision tree. Okay. In the random forest, you will going to create a multiple decision tree, and you will going to train it on the same training set, but you will going to pick up randomly the set of training data. You will going to make a decision on one of the decision tree, and at the end you will going to use voting mechanism to find out the prediction. What does it mean? Suppose if you have a training set of 100 rows, you will going to create suppose 10 decision tree. Each decision tree will be going to train on 10 random data from this training set, and you will going to create a decision tree on that. Each decision tree will going to give you one prediction based on this training data. That prediction you will going to combine it. You will see which result come in the majority, and that will be called as an average or voting mechanism. You can call as average also. When average of this decision tree are giving any prediction, that will be your final prediction. That is called a random forest tree. So in decision tree, the difference only in this was that there was only one decision tree. Here also, in creating a decision tree, they use the concept of entropy, Gini index, information gain to split the node, selection of the node, and coming into the final prediction. Okay, so here also you are picking a random set of a value from the given data set, and you do the prediction. Am I clear to you? So instead of just relying on a single decision tree, we have a multiple tree decision. Am I clear? Am I audible?
Yes, you are.
Okay. So instead of only one decision tree, you have a n number of decision tree, and it depends on you how many decision tree you want. So based on that, we can create a multiple decision tree. We can, and this division of the training data will be done automatically by your algorithm. They will going to split data based on the decision tree. For example, as I said you, if you have 100 rows, and and you have passed 5 decision tree, they will going to take a random subset of a data set or almost 20 data, and they will going to train your model, and they will going to generate the result. Later on, you can combine those results and do the prediction. Okay, so here random forest is a widely used algorithm because the chances of accuracy here is more, because you are using this average mechanism. So when more number of decision tree will give you same result, that will be called as your, you will get a high accuracy in that. But there is one disadvantage also. If you create a more number of decision tree, it will going to lead to the overfitting. You are aware about it, overfitting, underfitting, am I right? Or you are not clear about this? Prashant, Gaurav, are you aware about this overfitting, underfitting?
I have some idea, but Prasad, no.
Okay, Prashant is no. See, overfitting is a situation. Okay, let me explain. So overfitting situation, when it will occur, overfitting situation occurs when you train a model, when we train the model, or when we train our algorithm with very large number of input feature. So when you pass very large number of input feature while training, so your model will going to perform well while training but fail to perform in a testing. So overfitting is a situation where your prediction algorithm will do well. So overfitting is a situation that usually occur when you train an algorithm with very large number of input feature. So when you pass a more number of input feature, your algorithm become too complex. So in that case, prediction algorithm, your model will going to perform good while training. It will going to give you a good result. Okay, perform good and will going to give you good result on your training stage. But when you check or when you test it on your test data, it will fail to do so. Okay, it is fail to do the prediction in the test stage. That is called your overfitting. But what do you mean by underfitting? Underfitting is a situation opposite to this. Underfitting is a situation where your model failed to perform well in both testing and training stage. And this happen why? The reason of failure is why? Because when you pass a very small number of input feature while training, so prediction algorithm perform bad on training stage and fail to do so in test stage also. So what was the reason of this? That you are passing very input less input feature. You only think, suppose you are preparing for UPSC, and while preparing, if you are not going to cover all the syllabus, obviously you will fail to perform well on your test, right? Why? Because you have not covered the whole syllabus, you only learn few things. That means call as a underfitting. Okay, that is called as a underfitting. Means in case of learning with very small content, okay, in case of uh, learning of very small incomplete content, you will going to perform bad on your practice test as well as on your real final exam, right? Overfitting is a situation when you train too much, when you practice too much in that, in such a sense that you are going to do well on your internal exam, but you got confused on your final exam, right? Sometime it happens, we do lot of hard work. Okay, we do lot of hard work, but we perform well also in our internal exam, but in our final exam we fail to perform. Why? Because we have a lot of pressure at that time. Or so that is situation called as overfitting. Okay, so underfitting means you fail to perform in both training and test stage, and overfitting is situation when you do well on your training part, you do correct prediction while training, but while testing you fail to do so. So here it is same saying, if you take a large number of tree to do the prediction, if you take a large number of tree in order to get a more high accuracy, it will going to lead to the overfitting problem. Here this thing is saying greater number of tree in the forest lead to the high accuracy, prevent the problem of overfitting. So it is saying that jitne aap zyada tree, means greater the number of decision tree you will going to take, that higher your will be accuracy, and it will going to prevent the problem of overfitting, but within a certain range. ओके, अगर आप ज़्यादा नंबर ऑफ डिसीजन ट्री लोगे, ठीक है, तो आपकी एक्यूरेसी ज़्यादा होगी, ऑब्वियसली एक्यूरेसी ज़्यादा होगी, आपका ओवरफिटिंग सिचुएशन नहीं होगा, बट इट इज़ स्टिल सर्टेन रेंज. अगर आप बहुत ज़्यादा डिसीजन ट्री ले लेते हो और योर ट्रेनिंग सेट इज़ वेरी लेस, in that case it will lead to the overfitting problem. तो ये overfitting underfitting, do you understand now what is this overfitting underfitting? Is it clear to you, overfitting underfitting? Okay, so this is called as a overfitting and underfitting. In order to prevent the problem of overfitting and underfitting, your number of input features should be nominal. It should not be too less, it should not be too large. If you take too many input decision tree, it will going to lead to overfitting. If you take very less decision tree, your model will not be able to learn properly. That will going to lead to underfitting, which means it will going to do the prediction, fail to do the prediction in both training stage as well as test stage. Okay, let me rub this. Hmm. So there is few, like, why do we use random forest? So random forest are used when you want high accuracy, when you have a large number of data. Data size is accurate means having large. Okay, obviously random forest use less time in training as compared to other algorithm, because it is having a lot of decision tree. It will give you large accuracy, but one condition, yeah, that your data size should be large. And obviously, um, because of having high accuracy, we use that. So let's see that. So this is the step how they are actually working. You pass your model, each decision tree will going to make some prediction, then based on the average aggregate you will going to find it out which decision tree is giving maximum number of time the result, and based on that we do the prediction. So you can use this random forest in various sector, like in banking, fraud detection is one project that we did. So that in that we are using random forest. Each decision tree we're going to do the prediction whether the transaction is fraud or a genuine transaction. Okay, similarly, marketing also you use it, and in various sector random forest you can apply. And one more thing, as I said you, decision tree is used for both regression and classification technique. So random forest is also used for that. Classification in the sense when your target variable is categorical, like yes, no, true, false, and regression task means where you require statistic, where you need to see historical record, where your data set is a continuous way. Okay, salary, your weight, your dependent variable. I'm talking about dependent variable. So this is the, like, you can say it. And but normally we have seen that random forest we mostly use for classification technique. It perform well with the classification task, not for a regression task, but in some scenario you can use it for regression also when you wanted to check performance comparison. Okay, and now the implementation, how it actually works. You can see this code, means you have to import numpy, matplotlib, pandas. Till here it is clear. This step is what you are reading the data. This data is some user data, some sample data is there where you have to predict it something. Now here, how you going to do the prediction? Here you are telling that, means how you are classifying bit or making a distribution between input feature and output feature. You are telling here that in my data set that I read here, in that data set, the column which is at index 2 and 3, I want it all the row of 2 and 3 is my input feature, and the column which is at the index 4, all the row of that column 4 index, I want it as my dependent variable. Now you are going to train and test split. So here this x train, x test, y train, y test, right? You are going to read that. uh, Here 75% is your training data, test size is your 2.5, 0.25, and random state 0 means every time you will randomly going to pick the data. This random state 0 means every time you are going to randomly pick the data. After that, this is feature scaling method. This is an optional part. We do it in a optimization way. So right now you can ignore this. When you will do this on your spider um, id, you will going to see your data like this. So here you have a data like this, and you have to find it out based on the gender, based on the age of the customer, whether he will going to purchase an item or not. 0 means not purchase, 1 means purchase. Okay, so here finally how you're going to do the classification. So from sklearn ensemble folder package, you will going to import random forest classifier. Okay, in this sklearn ensemble file, Python file, there is a one function called random forest classifier. Okay, this is a function that is written in your algorithm file sklearn ensemble. To that function you are passing this parameter. What parameter? How many number of decision tree you want, and what is an entropy, means what is the criteria to split the node. uh, for my term I wanted to use criteria entropy, so I have passed it here. Then I split it on the train and test set. So an estimator is what, how much decision tree you want. Here this is okay. So when you want to do the prediction, how many decision tree you want, here you can see three are there. So it depends on you how much you want the number of decision tree to be created. So same thing here, we are passing here 10. So here in this code they have passed 10. And criteria, what criteria you want, okay, to split the node entropy. Then you fit this classifier on your train and test set. X train means your train data, Y train means the label, output label of your training. Now you are going to predict it on your test data. So same thing I had done. And when you're going to print it, okay, it will going to show you the result like this 00111. It means that the data that you have passed it, for that data, the first value it is predicting 0, second value it is predicting 0, third, and for seventh value it is predicting 1. Okay, and here you can verify it from here also. So here also the seventh value is coming 1, means almost we are getting the correct result. Based on that you can print confusion matrix. Confusion matrix means when you wanted to check the accuracy of the model, how you can check it. From sklearn metric import confusion matrix. This confusion matrix is your library that is you need to import from sklearn. This confusion matrix will give you overall accuracy of the model. Okay, so it will give you this matrix in this form. So how to predict the accuracy? When you combine this true positive and true negative, this is for true positive, true negative, false positive, and false negative. I will going to explain you what actually this is. True positive means it is something that is actually a positive and it is predicted also positive. True negative means suppose your COVID report is negative and actually it is a negative only. Okay. False positive means your COVID report is, you can think it like false positive means it is showing it is negative but it is showing positive. So that is called false positive. Okay, so you can think it when you combine these two, it is your actual correct result. This is your error result. So when you combine these two, you will get 92, and this is called your 8. So you have an accuracy of around 92%. You can see here 64 plus 28, 92 is your correct prediction. 4 plus 4, 8 is your incorrect prediction. Am I clear to you now till now? And in this way, you can see your random forest. Is it clear to you?
Yes. Actually, one question.
Yeah.
Uh, so confusion matrix. Yeah.
Hmm.
So which one is the predicted one and which one is the actual one? The horizontal one or the column one? So 0, 1 on the horizontal
Hmm.
axis is the predicted one, or the vertical one is the predicted one?
This vertical one.
Okay. So vertical one is like
See
the
here it is showing that um, Suppose out of this, okay, 64 plus, you can see here 64, 4, 4, 28. Okay, so it means showing that out, you don't see in that way, you just see that out of 100 record, out of 100 record, 0. Okay, actual it is 0 and it is showing 0 only, so there, that data is you have 64, means actually it is predicted by
Okay.
algorithm 64, sorry 0, and you also got 0, so that is data is 64. Actual it is 0, but model has predicted 1, so they are called as 4. Actual it is 1, model predicted 0, so they are 4. And actual it is 1, model predicted 1, that is 28. So when you combine this horizontal one, this is a correct prediction. Okay, this is actual 1, this is predicted 1. Actual is your horizontal, predicted is your vertical. Am I clear? Am I
Yes. Yes.
okay? So when you combine these two, which is correct one, means 0, 0 means actual 0, predicted 0, actual 1, predicted 1. So when you combine these two, it means it will give you 92. It means that out of 100 record, 92 you got a correct prediction. 92 is your accuracy. 92% time you got correct result. These two are wrong, means your actual is 0, but model is giving you 1. This is 0, this is 1, model is giving you 0, right? So this is called as the incorrect result. Later on you can visualize this also, but I won't suggest you to make such a complex graph. Instead you can see some other graph. Okay, so this is about the random forest. I will going to show you all the lab. Let me cover in one or two class all the algorithm. We will see the lab together. We have seen till now linear and logistic regression, decision tree, random forest, and support this KNN and support vector machine. All I will going to show you. So let's see about another algorithm. This is about random forest, how it works. So see, mathematics all will remain same here. Okay, there is some more term here, bagging and boosting term, that I will explain you in later in one or two class. But how do they split the node, and all they are similar to the decision tree. That is your Gini index, information gain, and that's the reason I pass here criteria same. Criterion means entropy. Here you can read it also. It's a function to analyze the accuracy of the split. So here also we are using entropy, information gain, Gini index, probability to split the node, to select the node. Am I clear to you?
Yes.
Now one more algorithm, that is your KNN algorithm, K nearest neighbor. So in this K nearest neighbor, do you have any idea on this? Have you heard this term before?
Not exactly, but I think they take the k nearest to data
Correct.
sets and take the average from this like Sanford or something, make it
Yes,
into a
correct.
cluster.
Yeah. So not a cluster, they just group it. Clustering is another algorithm, K-mean clustering. They just make a group of that. So here in this KNN algorithm, it's a supervised learning algorithm. All the algorithm that we have seen till now, decision tree, random forest, logistic, linear, they are supervised. It means that we are aware about both input and output there. Okay. Now, KNN algorithm is how it works. It is used, means whenever any new data point comes, they will going to find it out the distance of the data point with the existing data point. Distance means how far the data point from that existing one, and this distance is nothing but telling you the similarity, whether that data point belong to which whether the data point belong to um, which of the groups. For example, here you can see it. You can see this graph. So here, the blue is your new data point. You can think it, suppose this is your Amazon store. Okay, in that Amazon store you have a different groups. What are those groups? Groceries, stationery, clothing, electronic item, other item, right? As the new data point comes, so how the model they do the prediction, how the robot they do prediction, they they analyze the product. How they analyze the product, what is the feature of that product, how this product, whether this product is similar to that existing product. For example, suppose if it is battery operated electronic, so it will going to classify into electronic, otherwise some other category, right? So how do this prediction is done? What we do, we try to find out the distance between this new data point with the k nearest neighbor. K means k nearest data point. If I say k is equal to 3, which is the nearest data point? 1, 2, 3. So I will going to find it out the distance between this node new data point with the k nearest neighbor, and whichever is in the majority or whichever is in the nearer, I will going to classify that. Okay, now you see that this data point is near to this two, and these are in the majority as compared to this two. So this will be later on classified into these categories. Okay, so in that way your KNN algorithm works. But before coming into the deep, there are a few points that you need to be clear. KNN algorithm do not do training. Okay, KNN algorithm, what they do, KNN algorithm first store the data. Whenever any new data point come, it will, they will just store the data, they will find out a distance and they will do the classification. There is no training here. That's the reason KNN algorithm is called as a lazy learner, lazy learner algorithm, because it does not learn while the training set. Okay, when we pass the new data point comes, or any new data point come at the training phase, it just store the data, it calculate the distance on that data and classify the categories. That particular data point is similar to the new data point or what. Okay, so this KNN algorithm is also used for both regression and classification, but this is mostly work with the classification. Okay, the algorithm which is perform well with the regression task are your decision means linear regression algorithm. But this KNN algorithm and this KNN algorithm, random forest, decision tree, they work well with the classification algorithm. So here, as I said you, it is a lazy learner. You do not have to pass, you do not have to do any kind of training here. You will, it this model only going to uh, find it out the distance of the new data point with the existing one. Okay, so this is called as a KNN algorithm. So these are the terms that you should be remember in the interview. If they ask you which algorithm is called as a lazy learner, you should be aware that KNN. And what was the reason of this? That KNN algorithm does not have a training phase. It simply save the data, it store the data and find it out a distance between the data and classify it. You only think what is the reason of training here. Suppose while training, if I find it out a distance, will that distance will be helpful for me to do the prediction in future? No, right? So that's the reason here there is a no training. Here only we save the data, we find it out the distance, we help in prediction. Okay. So this distance actually means what criteria we use to find it out the distance. So distance will be Euclidean distance, Manhattan distance, Minkowski formula. These are the different formula that we use it to find it out the distance. I will going to show you. Let me what are the, so the Euclidean distance and all, I will going to show you the mathematical formulas. Suppose this is your KNN classifier. You are passing the input image based on the similarity, it will going to classify this. So this similarity, how we do we find it out? Based on actually this similarities, find it out based on the, just 1 minute. Similarities, find it out based on the distance, that how far the data point will be from the existing one. Um, Actually, my network is today is very bad. Okay, 1 minute. Let me just give a minute. Yeah. So this is the formula for this Euclidean distance, x1, x2, y2 minus y1. How do this represent? See, these are the two data points. Okay. So this data point, how do you find it out? X2 minus x1 square plus y2 minus y1, or you can do reverse also, x1 minus x2 square, y1 minus y2 square in the square root. So this distance will be going to help you to find it out distance between 2 points. This line is actually the distance between these 2 points. Okay, you can do one thing also. Suppose you have this line. Okay, you can create a straight line. You can combine this line, then with the help of Pythagoras theorem. Do you know Pythagoras theorem? In schooling you might be remember, it is s square is equal to perpendicular square plus hypotenuse, means base square. Perpendicular square plus base square will give you hypotenuse square. So in that way we were able to find it out distance, right? Similar thing is happen here. You are just calculating the distance between 2 points. So this is called Euclidean distance. There is one more thing, Manhattan distance. In that Manhattan distance, we just don't take a square root there. We just take in a mod the formula and we calculate it. But I wanted to show that only, but it's not running. Okay, 1 minute, let me check. Yes. Yeah, you can see the difference between these two. As I said you, if you have these two value, you can easily find it out distance between these 2 points, right? Similarly, if you have only this line, you can find it out in this way. X2 minus x1, y2 minus y1, this giving same. And in Manhattan, we have a mod. We don't have a square root and we don't have a square also. So 5 minus 1 will become 4 and 3, 7. So in that Manhattan, the distance will be this, and Euclidean, you are getting the distance is this, right? So these are the two way of finding out the distance between the data point, and you can use any one of these two. But there is one more, Minkowski is there, but we use rarely that. You can use this too. Am I clear to you? Am I clear to you?
Yes, clear.
Yes. So in that way, we find it out. Now, how to select the k value? See, k value, there is no way that we can decide which is the best k value. You have to take random k value from your side, and you can check it by changing the k value, how it impacting your performance of a model. If the change in a k value is decreasing your accuracy, you stop taking the large k value. And if your k value taking small k value, if you are getting less accuracy, you take a greater k value. Normally what I prefer, I usually run a for loop, and in that for loop I take a k from suppose 1 to 30 and I check which is the greater accuracy I'm getting in which k value, and I pick that k value. So based on that also you can find it out. Now let's see the code. We have, this is the same data set, code is also same, only the difference will come here. here. In that, from sklearn ensemble we were using, right? Now here from sklearn.neighbor, neighbor is your package. Inside that you have knn python file. In that k nearest k neighbor classifier is your function. To that function, what you are going to pass? K value. N neighbor means your k value you are passing here. Metric means what formula do you want to consider it for finding the distance. So here I am taken Minkowski. You can take it Euclidean also. When you pass p is equal to 2, okay, it will become Euclidean. When you take p is equal to 1, it will become Manhattan. Okay, Minkowski formula, if you wanted to see, let me show you. It is not the formula, it's only the thing. Minkowski is nothing but the representation is there. Okay, why it's giving error? Yes, you can see this Minkowski. It is similar. See this R value. Okay, if you give this R value as a 2, then in that case it will become under square root, right? 1 by 2 means what? Square root. Okay, and this will become square. So ultimately it will this formula will be equal to the Euclidean. But if you give R value 1, okay, this will become Manhattan. Then this formula will be equal to this. Listen carefully, you can see this formula. If you take 2 here, okay, so 1 by 2 means what? Square root. So you will apply square root here. Then after applying square root, xi minus yi are also value 2, right? So it will be look like this. Now if you take p value 1, in that case 1 1 will be nothing, right? So here it will be look like this. So that's the reason here we are passing p is equal to 2. When you pass p is equal to 2, Minkowski will be act like a Euclidean. When you pass p is equal to 1, it will be act like a Manhattan. And then you're going to do the prediction. Once you will going to do the prediction, you will get this value. 0 means not purchased, 1 means purchased. And similarly, you can calculate the confusion matrix here. Confusion matrix will be find it out on what data? Y test and Y prediction. Means Y test means your test data and prediction that you got it. Actual minus true prediction. So here, when you combine this, you will get 93% accurate result, which is giving more result than random forest on the same data set. So it means that 93 is your correct prediction, 7 is your incorrect prediction. Whereas in logistic regression, there was 11 incorrect prediction, random forest, it was 8. So you can see KNN is giving more accuracy in this data set. So from this, you come to know that how the algorithm, with algorithm changes or applying a different technique, you are getting better result. I hope it is clear to you. We have only 1 minute. If you have any question, then please ask. I've sent you the link. Do you have any question?
No.
Okay.
But yeah, please share the links because
Yeah, I will go
I
to
yeah.
share all the links with lectures. And yeah, today only I will going to share with you. And tomorrow means next class, I will going to start support vector machine and neo bias. And then probably from Friday onward, we will start doing all the lab one by one. Okay.
Okay. और कुछ like practice type का हो सके तो हम जिसे
Okay.
करें.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay,
something like
I will going to share on next class all the question on the case study.
that. Okay, yeah. Definitely.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks. Thank you. Bye. Take care.
Bye. You.